Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good evening, good afternoon. Guys, hear me? All good?
Yeah, can I see? Can share?
All right, thank you. Okay, just a bit of a disclaimer. This past week I've been coughing, maybe a bit of a flu. So my voice is not the usual voice, but I'll try my level best for the commitment of National Training Week. So this afternoon we will share with you guys actually one of the courses that we're going to launch next month, which is the Trainers Training Technique Refresher course. My name is Ahmad Fauzan bin Osman from Access Ideas Malaysia. I believe that some of you are aware that we are one of the vendors for trainer certification course, and throughout the past 5 years, I think since 2018, we have completed a total of more than 900 certified trainers through us, and Alhamdulillah, most of them are active. Some of them are still trying to find their way. So we thought that we would start off this year by this trainers training technique refresher course, so that for most of you who have attended trainer before, any form of trainer doesn't necessarily have to be with Access Ideas, as long as you are trying to refresh, because I know there's a lot of things that happen during the 5 days that when during the session itself, most of us were very concerned. Our focus was on getting the certificate. So probably after you got your certificate, then you start to do your training course, and you realize that there are a few things that probably you need a little bit of a refresher, so that it will remind you of how to go about delivering training with the knowledge that you already have through the TTT course that you have attended. Okay, so today, based on registration, I'm quite surprised because quite a number registered. We'll see whether all of them actually managed to make it to this session. I know after lunch, some of you, hopefully you all had your lunch. I see quite some familiar names here. I think I see Asip ada kat sini. Asip, thank you Asip for being here. Aisyah was there this morning with my Ikigai topic, if I'm not mistaken. Masuk lagi. Hari ni full swing Aisyah. And then Zana pun ada dekat sini. Thank you very much for attending. I see a few other names. Amir, Firdaus, Cik Zam. Cik Zam pun ada. Cik Zam is one of our interesting alumni. I still remember Zam during the training.
Yeah, there's
Okay. Hopefully, very active. I see very active on LinkedIn, conducting many types of training. Alhamdulillah, very good. Okay. So without further ado, I don't want to waste your afternoon time. So I'll share along the way. If you have any questions, please, by all means, in the chat box, you can chat, and certain points where I will take up questions from the floor, so you can unmute and have a chat with me. Would that be okay? Right? So I'm pretty sure that most of us here are trainers. So I think this is something that, mutual respect is very, very important. And I'm sure some of you are much more well versed with online training, the do's and don'ts. Let's just make today a little bit casual, a little bit relaxed. It is, by the way, a celebration of trainers with the National Training Week. So I'm actually very happy that finally we have something to celebrate as trainers. You always have Hari Pahlawan, you have Sports Day and whatnot. But for trainers, kita pukul habis 1 week kita sapu. Orang satu hari je celebrate, kita celebrate 1 whole week. Asyik baik tak 1 whole month? Dia macam raya pula kan. Anyway, and even though the name is National Training Week, we do not discriminate those who are not trainers, and those who position themselves as learning facilitators, coaches, mentors, public speakers, keynote speakers. We welcome them all. We celebrate together because all of us, our role is to enhance the competency of another through different methods which fits our role. Okay, so a quick disclaimer before we go into the details of today's program. I must tell you, even though that we run train the trainer courses, we do not represent HRD Corp. We are not part of the HRD Corp. So whatever we share is based on our personal experience from our perspective. So it is not an official, briefing and so on and so forth. Okay. So welcome you guys to the session. Again, thank you very much for your commitment to be here. First and foremost, let's start by sharing with me. You like to unmute, I'm okay with that, or you like to put in the chat box. What is it that you are looking forward to the most in this training session? What would you like to get out of this training session? Okay, you can put in the chat box. We'll be reading it out. And if you would like to unmute, you are welcome to do so. Let me know what areas, after attending the certification course, you are now certified trainers, you are trainers. What are some of the areas you would like to improve on? Okay. Okay, Rosiana mentioned new ideas on producing outlines. Okay, all right, that is something we could explore a little bit today. I know nowadays, you cannot run away from this. Almost every social media, they're talking about AI, specifically the chatbot AI, ChatGPT, or the latest one from Google, Bard AI. All of that are very good places to trigger your thoughts. However, I always remind trainers not to fully copy and paste whatever you get out of the AI. But at the end of the day, the training comes through you. So the best way is always to incorporate a little bit of that personal touch. Okay, Aisyah asking the question. Teknik nak jawab soalan participant. Participant tanya soalan pelik-pelik Aisyah. Aisyah pernah train saya. Saya tanya soalan pelik juga agaknya. Very common thing to happen, which is question. So let's see how we could actually manage those questions. Okay, all right. Maybe one or two more. Anybody, if you like, you can put in the chat box, or if not, I'll take that as some of the important things. Okay, Faizah here says how to make a meaningful presentation. Right. I can quickly answer that. I think those of you who have attended my trainer or any of the training I normally conduct, I always say this. When you want to present, please do not present with the intention of impressing people. We are not here to impress people. If you want to impress people, probably for a sales pitch, that could possibly be the reason. But for most part, as trainers, we do not want to impress. We are not here to impress. We are here to express. So if you want to make a very meaningful presentation, it doesn't come from here. It comes from here. So jangan hafal lepas ni slides apa. Use the slides to trigger your flow. Use the slide to construct your delivery, and then just deliver from the heart, insyaAllah. That can make the presentation a little bit more meaningful. Okay, Firdaus here asked the question, techniques to manage different ages of audience, student, industrial practitioners. Okay, Firdaus, definitely if you open up a training where there is a wide range of audience, memang susah sikit. Bit difficult because of the gap. So the logical or ideal way of going about it is definitely to customize your training program to specific group of audience. So this is where later we will talk about one of our modules today is going to be winning outline. So the idea of winning outline is basically how you can write an outline that is catered towards specific target groups. Because if you open, I know certain courses, no choice. You have a wide range of audience. But if you are really into the market of HID Corp, my recommendation is to segregate your audience according to specific target audience so that you can create outlines for them. So if you do that, chances are you will get a similar group. So if you get a similar group, it won't be too much of a hassle to manage the gaps between participants. Okay, just to share a little bit. Later we'll explore. Hopefully you'll find your answers. Okay, thank you for those who have put in your questions. Let's proceed a little bit further. Now, in most of my training, I always start off with this ground rules. Now, just to share a little bit, ground rules and ice breaking is different. Ground rules and housekeeping rules are different. Ground rules and safety briefing is different. Some trainers, due to their topic, they will have to start off with a safety briefing. Where's the exit? Where is the washroom, and so on and so forth. That is safety briefing for what do you call that, to ensure that the participants are in a safe environment. But ground rules here is actually one of the techniques that I can share with you to help you establish the environment, the mood that you want your participants to be in. So for our session today, our ground rules are very simple. I only have two. Number one, I consider this as a safe room. What do I mean by safe room? No stupid question. Any question you ask, if I can answer, I will entertain. Safe room also here means I don't judge you. So if you come from any particular background or facing any difficulties, I would like to hear out your situation, your issues, and I hope you also don't judge each other, because we are here to learn. So this is normally how I kick off my training, and I set up ground rules instead of housekeeping, because housekeeping, like in Zoom session, we always remind participant to mute and so on and so forth. That one, I think it's given. Most of us are very familiar with how things go on, so that won't be in my ground rules. My ground rules will be, number one, this is a safe room. By all means, if you have any question, you have any issues you like to raise, I'm all yes. My next, number two, ground rules is, I would like for us to all apply mutual respect. I respect you as professional working adults. I respect you as fellow trainers, I believe, because if not, you may not be signing up for this program. And most importantly, I respect you as a human being. So I hope you also reciprocate that with each other. Excuse me. And please welcome each other's participation in the training session. Okay, so that's my starting point. Are we all good with this ground rules? Boleh? Thank you very much for that acknowledgement. Moving along. So the objectives of the day, we have probably about 1 hour plus, because the goal was to have this for 1.5 hours. We'll see how it goes. I would not want to hold you up until 5, because I'm sure some of you may be already at home, some of you may be in the office, some of you, I don't want you to be listening to this online course while driving. It's not going to be safe. So you're going to try and finish off by 4:30-ish. So the objectives of the day, very straightforward. Number one is to re-examine the practical usage of the fundamental concept, because there are many concepts, theories in TTT that I think are very basic, yet I would say tested and proven. And most of the time, we have, as trainers, even me myself, I have this tendency of, ala, ni dah tahu lah, I've been doing this. So you may just brush off those concepts and theories as something that you know. But when the, what do you call that? When the time comes, sometimes those concepts and theories is really, really what makes the difference between an effective learning session and a disaster lah, I would say. So let's take a look at the basic ones. Hopefully that will help us to re-look at how we do things. Some of you are very keen on this, the training outline. We're going to take a look at how, or what are some of the key elements that you need to put in inside your training outline. Now, I'm sure some of us are full-time freelance trainers. Some of us are trainers with our own training provider company or setup. Now, regardless of that, when you write an outline, whether you are a freelance trainer giving your outline to the training provider, at the end of the day, the outline must communicate the message back to a few people. Number one is always the clients. Number two is the sponsors. We use the word sponsors here, the persons that's going to pay for that training. So let's say if you are a freelance trainer and you pass your outline to a training provider, it's not just the training provider needs to vet through and see whether this is what the request is all about. They also would need to give this outline to the client. And the client, whether it's HR, training department or whatnot, they would need to get approval from their top management. So you see, the message must travel across. And because of that, I always remind trainers, try not to use jargons. You are trying to communicate to people who are probably not in your field. So words is very crucial. I give you one example, and since Asip is here, Asip, just for the rest of you, Asip is one of our TTT alumni, very active in terms of coming back to seek advice. We are mentoring him. There are a few programs that we are working with him. Now, Asip, just to share, not to put you on the spot, just to share with you, you have a very good program. Your content is good. You are talking about not just sales as in sales process and pushing sales to customer. Your sales program is related to following up and building that relationship. But somehow or other, Asip, I don't know why my clients don't get the message. Asip, I said, as much as I want to help you and convince them that you are the right trainer for the job, they cannot capture. They cannot capture what you are trying to convey with your training outline. Not the outline. Basically, they are stuck at the title. So sometimes it's not your outline. Sometimes it's how you position the title itself. So this is something that, again, not to put certain people in certain situation, but there is always that, kita tak nak fall into the category of shock sendiri lah. But most of the time, I also still have that problem. Normally, what I say to my training providers is, you give this is a general outline. If they want to customize, please talk, communicate back the request, because that's the only way. There's no one quick formula, but that is usually the case. Okay, so Yasin, just to highlight a little bit, because that's the truth. I don't want to sugarcoat and say, you come to my class, you become superb, you earn 5-figure a month, marketing okay lah, but in reality tak jadi macam tu lah. I'm sure some of the senior trainers would agree with this. That's how things are. So the last part, we're going to take a look at assessment strategies, because at the end of the day, as trainers, you need to prove that your training is effective. You need to justify that you have done a good job. So whether you like it or not, you have to incorporate some form of assessment, as simple as pre and post, or as elaborated as practical evaluation of the performance. So those are some of the things we're going to touch during this next 1 hour plus, inshallah. Okay, so if you have anything else, by all means you can put in the chat box. I will try to facilitate accordingly within that scope of the day. So the topics to discuss, like I mentioned, key principles, going to take a look at some of the outline, key elements of the outline, and also assessment strategies. Now, just disclaimer, we are not giving any notes for this particular session. You are most welcome to screenshot for your own future references any parts of the slides, but we don't, because that's just our natural practice for this particular program. Having said that, please have a pen and paper by your side. Anything, just jot down, and it may bring up some ideas for yourself. Okay, when we talk about practical concept, I will also jump ahead and touch on the other two elements as we go along. Okay. Now, just a quick run through because I have to give a little bit of historical and also a little bit of understanding between the difference of train the trainer certification courses in Malaysia. Why I'm talking about this is because there has been some confusion out there in terms of which TTT is the right TTT for the trainer, because it depends on your training market and so on and so forth. Okay, there are three major or nationally recognized train the trainer certification course. If you have gone through any of them, just let me know, put it in the chat box so that I know what is your background. I myself have gone through two of these three. I've attended NCSTTT and I also attended many years ago the HRDF, now HRD Corp TTT. There's also the NIOSH TTT. Now the difference between these three, first and foremost, let's go through NIOSH. NIOSH, because as you know, NIOSH is the body that is focusing on safety. So if you're going to train in the space or in the area of safety, this is probably the TTT that you want to attend. I have had participants who have attended my HRDF TTT. They also re-attended NIOSH TTT just because they want to ensure that they have the right qualification to enter the market. Okay, so for NIOSH TTT, same 5 days, similar content and similar mechanism where at the end you have to deliver training, mock training, but their main priority is on safety related topics. So if you have safety background, whether you have studied occupational safety and health during the university days or whatnot, this is the program for you lah if you want to pursue that. Now, if you are more keen on TVET, vocational, if you would like to pursue a career in maybe become a lecturer in one of those what do you call that, TVET academies and whatnot, NCSTTT is your first step. Now, when I say first step, of course you can go through the full TVET VTO course that takes up about I think 6 months or 9 months, very long term course. But if you have experience, you can attend the 5 days TTT and CSTTT and apply based on your experience to go for TVET, the certificate for vocational. That is another angle lah, if you're going into that. So for the rest of us, usually we go for HRDF or HRD Corp TTT because this is not meant for any specific area. Most of the time for networking purposes, a lot of people attend this so that they get to know different trainers from different industry. Now, the difference here is this is meant to be your introduction or basically your license. A lot of people use the term license. This is a means for you to go into the training market, which is governed by the Akta PSMB 2001, because it's a requirement. If you have NIOSH TTT or NCS TTT, you are qualified for exemption. But all three of this, the key is for you to enter the market because the HRD Corp market is where I would say the funds are there. The money has been allocated by the company because it is an ACTA, they have to pay, they have to contribute. So the money is there. It's just a matter of whether you can penetrate them or not. So my conversation today would be much revolving around this particular market in essence, okay? So that you'll be aware of why maybe certain parts go a little bit general. So now, a little bit of chronology on HRD Corp TTT. The reason why I'm talking about this is because it really depends on when you took your TTT. I took my TTT in 2008, but did you know that in 2013, there was a revision in terms of the TTT program itself. Between 2013 2018, it was a different content in essence, and 2019 to 2022, or even until now, there's some slight difference. So let me just give you a little bit of a snapshot, what makes the difference, and if you find yourself a little bit lost in certain areas, probably the reason was when you took the TTT, because there's a little bit of a difference in terms of the content. Now, before 2013, when I took my TTT in 2008, the only thing that was standardized was the curriculum structure, meaning Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, Module 4, Module 5. And we had somewhat of a different Module 1. Okay. Now, in 2013, 2018, they revised the curriculum structure to be in line with the NCS TTT. So it is now much more friendly towards the technical trainers. Okay. In 2019 to 2022, they introduced the written instruction manual. This is a standardized module, a standardized learning material. So any training provider that you attended during this time frame, by right, you would get the same modules, the same materials. This is also where they introduced the accreditation status. And 2023 onwards, there have been some buzz that they may revise to what, I'm not sure, but as soon as I get some information, I will be, you will be guaranteed that I will share this to the general public, because most of us, we need to be updated with this information. So, okay, now, if you would like to know a little bit more details about this, you can take out your phone, you can, or you can screenshot and save it for later. You can check the explanation on the latest HRD Corp framework in their portal. Okay, the link is there. Why I put the QR code is because I'm afraid if I share the file with you, the file could be outdated because updates happen regularly. Okay, so just to share, because now I hope all of you have put in effort to get your accreditation status. Semua dah dapat dah? Belum? Soon? Okay, so kalau dah dapat, alhamdulillah, very good. Kalau belum, please make your effort towards that, because at this point of time, based on the circular, 1st January 2024, only accredited trainers are allowed to continue conducting claimable courses. So whether you are employed or whether you are a freelance trainer, to ensure livelihood continues beyond 2024, I would highly recommend get it done. Based on feedbacks from fellow alumni, the average duration taken nowadays is about 4 months. Some manage to get it fast, within 2 months dah dapat. Most of the time I hear within 4 months. So if 1st January 2024, I would recommend you to get it done, submit by August, because we don't know what's going to happen. As we hit the end of the year, I'm sure many Malaysians kan, kita suka last minute kan. So if last minute, definitely there will be a backlog, there will be a pile up. So just get ready. Okay, now what are some of the major differences when you took your TTT before 2013 to the latest version? Here's the difference. The modules that I mentioned during my time, 2008, was characteristics of a competent trainer, fundamental adult learning, TNA, design and conduct training programs. 2013 onwards, they start looking into planned adult learning, TNA, design competency based, which is similar to module 4, conduct. They also include assessment. So some of us maybe not so familiar with assessment. That's why one of the modules that I would like to share today is on assessment, because assessment will be the deciding factor, especially for micro-credential. If you guys remember briefly, last year, there was a buzz on micro-credential, but it was put on hold. So moving forward, I believe because micro-credentials has a lot of benefits, I believe it will be something that will come back very soon. So assessment, trainers needs to be familiar with the assessment processes. So that is why we put this up. So in 2019, like I said, the materials are the same. So that becomes the bare minimum materials. So if you have your training materials from earlier on, you may want to find way to get or borrow from your friends to just flip through and see what are some of the updates. Okay, so I think enough about that one. Just a little bit on the submodules from the latest TTT. They finally introduced trainers code of ethics and code of conduct because a lot of issues faced by trainers and training providers. I'm sure if you're part of any particular group of trainers, you would have come across issues where outline kena curi lah, material kena pass to other trainers lah, last minute cancel, swap trainers and whatnot, big major issues. But all this while, uh, sorry to say, we trainers are at the losing end because there is no avenue for us to take action. Okay, but good news I've learned from my fellow alumni, um, if you are the end user, meaning you are the participants, you can go to tribunal pengguna as long as the fee is less than 25,000. That is the place for you to voice out. If you are a trainer and based on contract, the training provider did not pay you, if the amount is less than 5,000, you can actually go to mahkamah kecil. You don't need to hire a lawyer. You can do self-representation. There's some forms. The forms, I think, is 30 ringgit. You need to fill up the form. You can file it in the mahkamah kecil. And then you can actually, basically, you can actually sue the training provider lah. So in essence, okay. So those are avenues that you can use, channels that you can use for that purpose. Some people go to the associations, but again, associations is not authority. HRD Corp is also not an authority. You cannot go to complain. Nothing much they can do. The best you can do is file a police report. But that's the hassle of it. But anyway, code of ethics and code of conduct is something that we discuss in TTT so that people are aware what are the do's and don'ts as a trainer. You don't want to get into trouble because there is akta, is it akta or something yang SPRM section 17 kurungan A, that one, if you submit false claim ke apa, nanti you kena. So just be mindful of that. Okay, the next element is learning outcome. All this while, people are writing learning outcome without any specific guideline. So in the latest trainer, you are supposed to go through this where you learn how to write a learning outcome. Now, learning outcome is one of the things that is, to me, very crucial to get your training outline to be bought, or you want to create buy-in from the training provider or also the client. So learning outcome is very crucial. Later we'll explore this a little bit deeper. Basic rules of sequencing your course, how to put together your modules that is being discussed. Program requirements, I will touch on this, which is related to the training outline. Types of icebreaker, I see a lot of confusion amongst trainers. Trainers conduct icebreaker, and most trainers think that icebreaker is where you get to introduce yourself, get participant to introduce themselves. That is not an icebreaker. That is greetings, that is courtesy. Icebreaker, there's 3 types of icebreaker. The first type of icebreaker is just for fun. This is usually what most trainers do, the brain exercise, the using their hands, doing things and stuff, a little bit of fun, just to get the mood going. That is for fun, icebreaker, number 1. Number 2 is where you do something to get your participant into the topic. That is what I'm doing with this course today. Starting from the beginning up until now, I'm building up into the content. The icebreaker is meant as a buffer before you straight go into the topic. The third type of icebreaker is when you do an activity excuse me, The activity is meant to be having a lesson that you're going to use and apply throughout the session. That is the third level of icebreaker, the best form of icebreaker. Excuse me. Okay. And next one, techniques in handling question is one of the modules that was introduced in the latest one. Okay. So there is a way to answer questions, to handle question, handle objection. Session plan format is being standardized. Now, session plan format, I must highly stress on this. It is one of the documents that you need to submit for accreditation. And because it is one of the documents required for accreditation, there is also a segment where your marks will be given for your session plan. So make sure your session plan consists of all the items required. Okay, it can be in a different style, but you must have the basic things. Number one, you must have the learning outcome. Number two, you must have the learning points. Number three, you must mention the resources required. Number four, you need to elaborate what you are going to do in that session. And number five is the last one, the timing. So you must put the timing. So session plan is crucial. I repeat, learning outcome, learning points, resources, methods, and timing must be in the session plan format that was standardized with 2019's written instruction material. Okay. If you have any questions, by all means, you can ask. If you want to unmute, you can raise your hand or whatnot. You can interact with me. I'll try my level best to describe further. So just these okay, last one. I forgot to mention types of assessment. These are some of the key highlights of the new modules. So just to share so that we are aware, because as we go into the key learning concepts and practical application, most of this will be applied. Okay, what does it mean by timing in the session plan? Timing in the session plan is the duration, berapa lama you akan spend dekat satu-satu bahagian. So contoh, introduction 15 minit. Contoh, maybe activity 25 minit. Something like that. So you must describe how much time you're going to allocate for each segment in the session plan. Okay, Amir? So hope that helps. How detailed should it be? The detailedness of the session plan by concept should be when the person reads the session plan, they know what will happen. So you do not need to put a script. Jangan buat macam drama punya script. Watak ni cakap apa-apa, watak ni cakap apa. No, not to that detail. But you have to elaborate. Let's say for example, in one of the exercise, you're going to use practical tools. Maybe let's say you're going to talk about mengajar orang menjahit, sewing machine. So you will put there resources, sewing machine. You don't have to put sewing machine brand apa, but you must allocate sewing machine for each participant, or sewing machine to be shared by 3 in a group. That level of detailedness. You don't have to go to the detail of jenama apa ni semua, but it's sufficient enough. Like I said, bila orang baca, orang tahu what is going to happen. Okay, so hope that helps with the question. Faizah, and Amir. So hopefully that helps. Kalau sempat, saya akan tunjukkan contoh. Again, I don't want to get into trouble because it is not meant to be a TTT program. It's a refresher on trainers training technique. Kan nanti ada orang saman saya pula. But the idea here is to get you guys ready for the, because sometimes we attended TTT dah lama kan, kita lupa. Okay, moving along. One part that I would like to share, because I find this as something very crucial when we do training, is that training and learning goes hand in hand. when you train, the idea is for you to also impart and get the participants to learn. So in the latest version of Train the Trainer, we discuss Law of Learning by Edward Lee Thorndike. So this is the picture of like Edward Lee Thorndike. This concept was introduced in late 1920s. So dah dekat 100 tahun, almost 100 years ago. So Thorndike says that the first law is law of readiness. So here's the thing, guys. When we train, we want people to learn, betul tak? But when we train, naturally, if you are training in-house, kalau you train public program, not so bad, because public program, people pay money to attend. So when people pay money to attend, they have somewhat of that buyer's remorse. You know that word, buyer's remorse? When you buy something and people argue saying that, what you buy is not beneficial, it's not good. You have the tendency to protect your purchase. You say, hey, no, this is good. So in essence, training is also like that. When you pay for your own training, there is that level of seriousness, there is that level of readiness to learn. Okay, so that is usually not a problem. But when you do in-house training, you start off the session, you do icebreaker, you ask participant, what would you like to learn? One of the participants says, what? Entahlah, I pun tak tahu, bos hantar. I don't know why I'm here. I ganti orang lain. So basically they are not ready to learn. So when they are not ready to learn, learning does not occur. So laws of learning here is like law of gravity. What goes up must come down. So if you are not ready, you cannot learn. Similar to online courses. I'm sure during the pandemic, everybody was so excited about online courses. Everybody, they switch on the camera, they are very focused, they learn. But in recent times, people get distracted a lot with other things. And then some people think that they can learn while multitasking. Excuse me. But in essence, based on study, that does not happen. What Thorndike mentioned here is we must get them to be ready. Now, when I say get people to be ready, of course, if you force them, they may resent, they may retaliate. So the best way is to get them to be ready naturally. So how do we get them to be ready naturally? Pepatah Melayu ada sebut, sarang tebuan jangan jolok. So if the person is there, don't want to be there, they are forced to attend the training, they are replacing a colleague, they don't want to be there. My advice to you, my recommendation is, jangan jolok sarang tebuan tu. Don't pick on them. Don't push them. Biarlah dia. Bagi dia warm up. Give them time to warm up, because when they are ready, they will participate. Okay? So that is the right application. What if 70% of the audience macam tu? Then, Aisyah, we have to allocate time in our planning to buffer so that your icebreaker tu panjang, so that you really spend a lot of time to get them to be ready. Jangan masuk content dulu. Let's say for example, Aisyah cerita pasal finance kan, accounting kan. So benda-benda ni berat kan. So Aisyah kena allocate probably the first hour is just to get them to warm up. So Aisyah, kalau kata you ada game, by the way, saya baru balik daripada train the trainer dekat JB. One of the participant actually talk about cash flow. So dia bawa game cash flow. Apparently, of course, I know some people dekat KL maybe dah exposed with the cash flow game yang ada gambar tikus tu. There is another version, Chinese version, because the participant is Chinese. There ada Chinese version of cash flow that is an upgrade of that tikus punya cash flow punya game lah. So I saw the game. Dia kata 3 hours main game tu je. Dia main game tu 3 hours and then only dia buka cerita cash flow aja. So I think, ya betul, Rosanna kata kan ada plan B kan. So you have to allocate that time. You have to plan for it. Kita jadi trainers, I know most of the time kita sangat keen nak cerita content kita. But you got to remember guys, to learn, siapa yang nak learn? The one who learns is the participant kan. Dia tak boleh shock sendiri. Dia kena ready tau. Kalau kita datang, kita tengah shock very excited to share. Start je, buka cerita. The first 15 minutes slide dah masuk, 10 slide for example. Jam. Tak boleh. You got to allow them to be ready. So this is where sometimes we get into, I won't say argument lah, discourse lah between coaches and trainers. Because coaches banyak bermain dengan soalan. Coaches banyak getting their participant to open up and whatnot. So that technique is good because dia nak bagi ready. Okay. Faizah tanya pula, kalau audience klik-klik macam mana? Senyap macam mana? Tak apa Faizah, because they are not ready. Okay, ada pula tanya, macam mana nak scan the first? Okay, dia dah buka cerita yang best ni kan, baru buka satu point ni. Macam mana nak scan? Macam mana kalau dia klik-klik? Okay, here's something that I learn. Ni I stop share sekejap because nak kena tunjuk sikit. Here's something that I learn from a very hands-on practical trainer. You masuk dalam kelas, you tengok participant you, body language dia macam mana. Contohlah participant tu, dia duduk macam ni kan, shrug macam ni, dia menyandar macam tu kan. Dia macam body language dia memang out lah. So first sort of exercise you do is you get them to open up dia punya tangan dulu. Dia punya method dia adalah you kena diffuse, macam nak diffuse bomb tau. Kan cerita Hollywood kan selalu nak potong wire biru ke, nak potong wire merah ke kan. So it is like that. You have to study body language lah. Kalau dia duduk macam ni kan, dia duduk kat belakang. Kalau dia duduk kat belakang, saya tak pergi belakang. Saya tengok siapa yang ni. So when you go into the room, you scan the room, you tengok siapa yang ada eye contact dengan you. Siapa yang macam ada wajah-wajah macam nak say something. So you start off dengan orang tu. Contoh kan, ni kita nampak gambar Zam tengah tutup mulut macam tu kan. Dengan dia tunjuk G-Shock dia kan. so kalau saya takkan petik Zam lah. Tapi pasal saya kenal Zam macam mana kan. Tengok, dia dah diffuse, tangan dia dah buka, dia dah tunjuk mulut dia. Dia dah okay. So lepas tu kita boleh interact dengan dia. This is where sometimes kita bukan nak kata apalah ada setengah orang kata it comes with experience. Betul, it comes with experience. So macam mana you nak dapat experience tu? You must get the opportunity. Macam mana you nak dapat opportunity tu? You kena put yourself out there. Sama ada you offer yourself to do a lot of preview ke. My time masa saya dulu baru-baru, saya banyak buat preview. Kadang-kadang buat free, tak dapat job pun, tak apa. Tapi there was one preview, I need to share a story with you. One preview, saya tak boleh lupa sampai sekarang. I was called to do a preview on the topic of time management dengan OIC magazine. Saya tak tahu ada lagi ke tak magazine ni, tapi selalu kalau on the way ke KLIA dia ada satu billboard tu OIC Times kot, OIC magazine. So Datuk tu dia punya boardroom meeting dia tu, dia punya kerusi macam kerusi pengantin tau, ada benda dekat belakang. So masuk dalam tu, dia kata okay, kita nak tengok lah you punya program ni nak go for your time management course. Saya salah faham, saya ingatkan business pitch kan, so kita ni, tapi dia specifically kata preview, dia nak see what I can do. So I cerita about 1 jam 2 jam macam tu, habis tu Datuk tu pun keluar, dia kata okay, thank you very much. Dia keluar, participant lain pun dia punya members keluar. The person in charge macam excited lah. Lepas tu senyap, 1 day 2 day senyap. Lepas tu dah dekat seminggu tu saya call balik person in charge, saya tanya how was it. Dia kata Cik Fauzan, minta maaf lah tapi ini apa yang Datuk cakap. Datuk kata, Cik Fauzan, you're a very talented young man, but during the preview I did not learn anything. Aduh, bukan setakat tak dapat job, Dia kata preview saya dia tak learn apa-apa. Maksudnya saya gagal in part lesson. So dekat sini saya belajar, bila kita buat preview, saya kalau buat preview sekarang, saya dah tak adalah nak menjual sangat. Saya terus share some of the contents, because at the end of the day, kita trainer kan, orang mesti nak kena dapat something daripada kita. So walaupun 70% tak in tune, 70% terpaksa hadir ke apa kan, you cari yang 30% yang nak belajar tu, you communicate with them. Dia macam ni tau, kalau kita ada crowd kan, tengok okay, hopefully nampak lah kalau kita ada crowd kan, dia ada crowd A dengan crowd B. Katakanlah crowd A ni adalah crowd yang 30% tadi, dia yang memang nak belajar, dia ready nak belajar. Lepas tu kita ada crowd B yang pusing kok mana pun dia tak mau, dia memang refuse. Ini crowd yang tak nak. Kat mana kita nak fokus? Kita nak put energy kita kat mana? A ke B ke? Sebab ingat both require energy. Dua-dua pun penat kita nak layan. Kita nak fokus kepada mana? Crowd A atau crowd B? Orang yang layan kita atau orang yang tak layan kita? Kalau kita pergi shopping lah, tak payah cerita training lah. Kita pergi shopping, kita masuk kedai ke, kita masuk restoran ke, tak ada siapa nak ambil order. Kita nak stay tak? Chances lah kita belahan. Betul tak? Kalau, okay, now tak boleh nak cakap juga, ada setengah kedai annoying pula, dia ikut aja kita macam kita ni nak mencuri pula kan. So that one is different story. But yeah, we try to focus on those who are giving or paying attention. That's good. Slowly kita nak dapatkan crowd ni. Slowly you want those yang atas pagar ni. Pengundi atas pagar ni best. Sebab apa? Once they join crowd A, yang B ni pun seorang dua orang akan ikut. So you guys know the answer. That's the best part. You dah tahu. Cuma kadang-kadang kita jam, betul tak? Bila kita dah berdepan dengan audience dah buat muka ketat, buat muka krik-krik, kita jam, betul tak? Sebab apa? Kita lupa kita punya peranan. Kita ada kat situ, we are there to impart the lesson, to help people to learn. Maksudnya, matlamat kita ialah kita nak bagi dia learn. Kalau dia tak ready nak learn, dia tak boleh learn. So jangan push content tu dulu. That's my thought on it lah. Cakap senang kan, tapi kadang-kadang kena juga. Kadang-kadang kena juga, baru-baru ni kena. Tapi itulah sedikit orang kata apa, peringatan pada diri sendiri. Kita ni bukan Superman kan, kita bukan semua benda kita tahu. But itu saya kira kes-kes terpencil lah. So kadang-kadang banyak reason dia. So but anyway, benda paling penting, law of readiness. Kena bagi dia ready dulu, kena bagi dia warm up dulu. Sebab tu setengah trainer tu kan, dia main game after game after game, sampai lalat dia sendiri lupa apa dia nak ajar. Itu tak boleh pula lah. You must build up the momentum. Betul, terus terang cakap, kalau dapat participant macam Zam, suspend tau. Kan? Nak kalau dia baru lepas cukur misal kan, dia background tentera Zam kan. But you know, every now and then you kena ni lah. Okay, next one kita tengok. Next one adalah law of exercise. Kalau dia tak ready, Aisyah because Aisyah tanya soalan ni, lepas tu ada pula yang tambah, kalau 70% macam mana? Kalau dia tak ready, you buat satu game, tapi game kena berkenaan lah, janganlah game tak berkenaan. Second activity dia macam tak berapa boleh pergi kan, start bagi exercise, whatever that exercise is. Tapi exercise berkaitan. Contoh kalau Aisyah bercerita tentang finance punya ni kan, you buat satu simple game. Because Aisyah very creative person. Aisyah pun pernah buat training yang saya pernah tengok. Dia ada, dia buat game card lah, apalah. Dia ada banyak benda-benda tu. Go with it. But as you teach the concept, dia jadi berat balik kan. You terus masuk exercise. Macam this trainer yang bercerita tentang cash flow semalam kan, dekat Johor tu. Dia start off, dia buka cerita pasal cash flow. Dia suruh setiap participant, ni masa dry run lah. So masa dry run tu, dia suruh setiap participant tulis gaji berapa, perbelanjaan berapa. Lepas tu saya bagi komen, saya kata if you do that, orang akan pull back sebab start je nak kena tulis gaji, benda information yang sensitif kan. So saya cakap kat dia, jangan bagi orang keluarkan point something that they are not ready to bring out yet. So the idea here is do an exercise, put up the numbers, get them to calculate. Start with something simple, easy, and then build up. Okay, because based on Thorndike, dia kata law of exercise. The more people do the exercise, the more they will learn. So kalau you punya topik, kalau you punya topik adalah topik yang what you call that, practical, kita ada 4-step pattern. You start off dengan preparation, all the tools, lepas tu baru you masuk cara guna dia. So that is law of exercise. Number 3, law of effect. Law of effect ni based on Thorndike, dia kata mood kena baik. In essence, tak adalah dia cakap macam tu, saya lah cakap macam tu kan. Thorndike kata kalau participant tu mood dia baik, dia akan belajar. So macam mana nak bagi mood baik? Nombor 1, kalau kita training provider, if we are the training provider, make sure the venue is nice. Datang venue, ambience is nice, ada coffee, ada food sedap. That's something that will help the law of effect. Now, law of effect, of course, people who complain will always complain. Saya ada dapat satu participant tu, dia tegur, Mr. Fauzan, can you please put up the signage from the parking lot? Satu hal lah pula, daripada parking lot dia suruh letak signage, nak guide dia sampai pergi bilik training mana. Melebih lah pula. But the point here is, when they come in, you welcome them. So I always remind trainers, make sure the trainer is the first person in the room, because you want to set the ambience. You want to set the mood. Pasang lagu ke, just get them to chill. Jangan lagu rancak-rancak sangat, slow-slow macam tadi kan, lagu launch music tu. Lepas tu, bila dia datang, dia dah settle down. Ingatlah, jangan tegur participant when they haven't settled down yet. Make sure they put their bags, they're comfortable, they're ready with the pen, paper. Then you talk to them. Do not, get them to be like terkejut. Banyak, kita bukan, senang cakap ni, kita bukan cikgu sekolah. Cikgu sekolah memang dia attack budak yang tak pay attention. Betul tak? Okay Faizah, if you need to leave, okay, nanti recording kita akan share macam mana, we'll see. Kita ada, sebenarnya by the way, we are putting this up on YouTube. So nanti boleh tengok juga YouTube channel, tak ada masalah. Okay, so all the best with your meeting. Now, kita bukan cikgu sekolah where we purposely look out for the participant yang tak pay attention ni. No, we are trainers. We know that readiness is important. So you start off with that first. So you get them in the good mood, and then you go into the key content or topic. Kalau boleh jangan terus terkam lah. So that's the idea. Okay, next one. Law of primacy. What does law of primacy here means? Law of primacy here means how people learn or what they have experienced before will always color how they view the world. Senang nak cakap, kalau dia datang training sebelum ni, semua training boring, chances are dia akan ada that mindset, training is going to be boring. So, bila dia datang, dia kata dalam mindset dia, training ni boring. Dia pula tengok trainer, alamak, trainer macam ni, trainer ni boring. So, for you to overcome that is going to be a challenge. So, there is no such thing as, okay, everybody, you must enter this with an empty glass. Everything is, unlearn, relearn, and things like that. You cakap lah macam mana pun, it is not automatic. But this is not Man in Black. You have that item, you can wipe out orang punya experience. No such thing. So, what we do is, we acknowledge dia punya past experience. If their past experience is bad, we acknowledge. Kalau tengok dia duduk macam tu, body language macam tu, slowly, jangan malukan dia depan halayak ramai. Slowly tanya dia, cik okey ke? Dia kata, malah lah training ni. Okay, never mind. Biar dia. Kalau dia rasa boring. Kalau you ada peluang, you can talk to the person during break, you ask them, excuse me sir, I notice you are a bit off today. Any reason? Kalau dia nak sembang, kalau dia kata, I don't know why lah, HR keep sending me for this training. I've attended many times already. So kalau dia macam tu, kita fact find. Because whatever they have learned will always color their experience in the training itself. Okay, so itu law of primacy. So tak patut kita discount dia punya experience, good or bad. Last one, law of intensity. Law of intensity here is how soon are they going to use the knowledge. Let's say for example, they go for fire extinguisher punya training. So fire extinguisher bila kita nak pakai? Bila ada kebakaran kan? Bila ada kebakaran. And the next question is, bila kebakaran tu nak berlaku? Tak tahu bila. So we don't know. So because we don't know when we're going to apply, we don't see. So because of that, the learning impact, the learning intensity is lower. But if they're going to use it straight away, chances are they will have that learning. That's why most of the bomber punya training, lepas dia ajar teori, they will go out to the field, they will start to practice. So everybody gets to hold the fire extinguisher and do the action. People get excited lah because they get to use it. But after that, what happens? People don't remember kan? Excuse me. So the idea here is some of our topic, maybe by default, our topic is a topic that don't know when we will use. And because of that, participant finds it like, bila nak pakai tak tahu bila nak pakai. So bila tak tahu bila nak pakai, they don't take it too seriously. So if you can have a practical session, my suggestion is if you have a practical session or a follow-up session with the participants on how you really get them to use the lesson, insyaAllah the learning will be better. I have done a training for a hotel many years ago. Hotel, because they cannot release their staff together. So what happened was split, half day and another half day. So first half, different group, second half, different group. So I did customer service training lah, very basic customer service. So what we did was, we discussed on telephone handling. So we discussed on telephone handling during the first batch. Kita kata, as a case study, we will call, say put on loudspeaker, we will call this hotel, kita tengok macam mana dia answer. So we did that. And then I told them, after this session, for the afternoon punya class, I will call randomly one of your department. So pasal petang tu, I call lah. So bila call, one of the participant tu, dia answer, and then dia answer dia lupa lah nak pakai teknik yang kita ajar tu. So I tangkap dia, I kata, this is Mr. Fauzan, I call you, remember this morning? Lepas tu dia macam, lepas tu kawan-kawan dia ketawa-ketawa kan. So bila dia tahu ada spot check, then they will try to apply. The learning becomes a bit intense. Group A yang pagi dengan group yang petang, definitely the second group had a better learning because of that outcome. Okay, so that is the strategy I want to share with you. And this is what we discuss in TTT. Kadang-kadang bila actual presentation atau actual training kita lupa, but the basics are still there. Okay, so now at this point of time, any question? Ada apa-apa nak soal? Ada apa-apa nak komen ke? Ada anything you like to share? Boleh letak in the chat box, serta kalau nak unmute pun boleh. Now, in the meantime, kita nak tengok adult learning. So I think some of you remember when we talk about adult learning, which one is adult learning, A or B? A approach or B approach? B. Laju ramai sebut B. Exactly, it's B approach. So how do we ensure that adult learning happens? So the idea here is, trainer jangan banyak cakap, trainer kena banyak tanya soalan. So instead of making statements, the trainer shift into asking more questions, because adult learning is two-way. Adult learning is learning from each other. So most of the exercise, kita nak make sure that people learn from each other. Okay, Rosiana tanya, what if Yang attend junior rank replacing boss dia. Alright. Ini popular punya soalan ni kan. And the topic is meant for level macam boss dia. Okay, dekat sinilah kita apa nama, bagi dia harapan sikit. Kita bagi dia harapan sikit. So what do I mean? Kita kata, oh, Alhamdulillah, rezeki, the opportunity for you to attend this training on behalf of your boss. Maybe your boss believe in you. I don't know, I'm not your boss. But if I was your boss, probably the reason why I chose you is because I believe that you have the potential to replace him someday, later. Mana nak tahu. So, kalau you betul-betul ready nak naik rank and file, you can rank up, this is your opportunity. Kalau ada soalan, tanya. If you need some additional information because there are certain parts you don't understand, please tanya. Because mana tahu in the near future, kalau bukan dekat company ni, maybe dekat company lain, you will be able to. So this is something that maybe is beyond your current grade, but maybe you can take this as an opportunity for your future, you know. Boleh masuk dalam resume, cakap kat dia, masuk dalam resume, you attended this training, you bagi dia that positive reinforcement. So hopefully, dia akan rasa macam hati berbunga-bunga sikit. Saya rasa kalau Rosiana cakap dengan dia, maybe dia pun rasa macam sejuk hati tengok trainer tu kan. Dia kalau Asip cakap, mungkin dia kata, ya ke, trainer ni nampak muda je ke, temberang ke ni, contoh kan. So get them to feel good tadi, law of effect, they feel good. Kalau dia ready to participate, okay. Kalau tak, don't pick on the person, Rosiana. Don't force the person to do. Again, dia buat sesuatu yang out of extra kan, dia replace boss kan. So anything, jangan bagi too much pressure on the person. InsyaAllah dia okay. Alright, thank you very much. Okay, so kita tahu adult learning A dengan B is B. Now, so what are the characteristics? Characteristics dia ni, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 characteristics of adult learners. First characteristic, we must acknowledge adult learners bukan macam budak-budak, dia ada self-concept. What is self-concept? Self-concept tu, dia ada idea tentang siapa diri dia. He has a general picture of how he or she views themselves and how he or she thinks the world views them. Excuse me. So, kita kena acknowledge self-concept dia. So, self-concept, contohnya, you can, again, apa nama, Aisyah tadi tanya, how you can scan the room in first 5 minutes kan. So, you masuk, you take a look at the participants coming in, you observe pakaian dia, you observe apa dia bawa, apa dia punya ni. Saya selalu suka tengok kasut. I'm not a shoe fan, but I have the tendency to look at people's shoe. And I would ask myself one question, and this is something I learned from image consultants lah. The tips is, you ask yourself, who would wear these shoes? So macam kalau saya nak beli kasut pun, saya akan fikir, who would buy this shoe? Who would wear this shoe? Kalau I can carry the style of that shoe, I will buy it lah. So the idea here is, if people purchase shoes, dia tengok kasut dia contoh, I have one participant pakai baju kurung, lady tapi shoe dia sport shoes. So I acknowledge shoe dia, kata, a very nice choice of shoes, cantik lah sneakers tu. Suddenly dia macam light up, because dia kata most of the time people cakap dia immature, tapi tak pernah cakap kenapa dia immature. So I pinpoint shoes. So saya suka tengok shoes, number 1. Number 2, mungkin Asyik boleh add on to this point because image consultant, jam. Tapi jam ni after PKP saya kurang sikit, sebab I realise number 1, nowadays people wear apa nama tu, smartwatch tu, the for health reason kan. So people don't use watches like they used to lah. Dan saya pun sekarang saya dah tak pakai jam tangan. Nanti orang kata, oh, you don't pentingkan masa ke tak. Sebenarnya now everything is here kan. So that's another issue lah. But the reason why I used to look at people's watches is because it's a statement piece. So, setengah orang kan dia pakai G-Shock ke apa kan, it's a statement piece. So those are clues in terms of what kind of character. Especially if you go to places yang pakai uniform, manufacturing kadang-kadang they wear uniforms, right? So the only way they can be different is the shoes and the watch. And because of that, you can see a little bit of their character, and their character gives a glimpse of their self-concept. So self-concept ni, they play a very big impact on trainers. Okay, trainers pula, the trainee and how they react to trainers. Of course, that also comes with experience very quickly. Readiness to learn, macam saya kata tadi, body language, observe whether they're ready or not. Some, you masuk je, dia dah baca dah, dia ni memang saja nak cari pasal ni. So, be mindful of that, because sometimes it's your own personal perception, it's your own self-concept. You got to be alert. Okay, number 4 is orientation to learn. Minat dia nak belajar tu, dan juga motivation to learn. Kenapa dia perlu belajar? Macam tadi kan, case they are there to replace the boss. So when they are there to replace the boss, they don't have the motivation to learn. They don't see the orientation to learn. Orientation is your path. Orientation is your path. What's next? Motivation is the pushing factor. So kalau dia terpaksa hadir, they are forced to attend. So because motivation to learn is not within, so we have to spend a little bit of time to get them to realize that whatever we share as trainer, apa yang kita nak share ni, ada use kepada dia in the future. So hopefully that sparks or ignites a little bit of motivation from their side. So 5 ni kalau kita dapat aware and also think carefully, hopefully this would help you a little bit in terms of how you deal with adults. Dan sebenarnya inilah yang kita cerita dalam trainer is we want the trainers to really understand that this 5 is what makes the difference. So if I were to put it in practical, siapa mereka, who are they? You got to know them, you got to get to know them, and please not just refer from the attendance. This is get to know them as a person. Sincerely you nak kenal dia. You really want to know them as a person. So macam Rosanna, the guy that replaced the boss. So you want to know them sincerely. Why is this guy the one that is going to replace the boss? For the experience, just ask yourself, or even ask them what they already know. Apa yang dia dah tahu pasal topik ni. Let's say for example, you're going to train on communication. So communication is a very broad topic. So you can ask them, okay, before I go into the modules, let's do a quick sharing, brainstorming. Let me know what or how do you define communication. Bagi 5 minutes, 10 minutes, bagi dia buat. Instead of we starting with the introduction, communication apa dia, because when we do that, we have the tendency to undermine their experience. So sometimes a lot of trainers makes this mistake where they don't check the past experience of the participant. In terms of readiness, tanyalah dia, are they voluntarily? Kalau tak voluntarily, which we expect will have, kita manage lah. Okay, and then what do they want to learn? Even though they are forced to attend, 75% forced to attend, dia tanya, what would you like to learn? Kita ada modul, yes. Notes ada, yes. But I would be very interested to find out, sincerely I want to know what is it that you want to learn on this particular topic. So macam tadi, I start off, I tanya. So ada 3-4 orang komen dekat chat box. So kita jawab soalan tu. Hopefully that would help them. Okay, the last one is ask yourself, why do they want to learn? So if they are not there voluntarily, you got to ask yourself, what strategy can I use to make them want to learn? Again, attention and learning, this part is earned. You cannot force. Kids, you can force lah. Dia tak nak belajar, bawa rotan lah. But for adults, you cannot force. So because you cannot force, so try as much as possible. Don't discount them as a person. Okay? Boleh? Right. Moving along. So itulah dia. Always clarify. Don't assume. You nak snapshot ni pun boleh. Just simpan for future references. You know. Macam mana kalau online? Amir tanya, kalau macam online kita tak nampak trainee, nak communicate susah and stuff like that. Betul. Saya tak nampak Amir tak buka kamera. Macam mana kan? Okay, this is comes where practice is very important lah Amir. Saya rasa kadang-kadang tak nak online ni memang ada limitation. There is limitation. One of the limitation is to communicate with the person at a personal level online memang susah. So apa yang kita buat? Saya pergi balik back to basic je Amir. So I go back to basic. Ni kan A dengan B ni tadi kan, siapa yang pay attention, siapa yang tak, yang kita tak tahu. Bukan dia X, bukan dia tak nak, tapi kita tak tahu. Maybe webcam ada problem, maybe background dia bising ke apa kan. So we don't know. So because of that, we focus on yang buka kamera lah. Sebab tu sekejap-sekejap saya petik nama Rosiana, sekejap-sekejap saya petik nama Asyik, sekejap-sekejap saya petik nama Zam. Zam Oh dia angguk. Okay. Sebab dia buka kamera. So saya appreciate dan saya boleh communicate dengan dia. So itulah dia. Now what happens kalau semua tutup kamera? Ada satu strategi. Tadi pagi punya online session I tried, it work. So apakah strategi dia? Kita cakap, okay, kita nak ambil group foto lah. Okay, group foto, minta tolong ambil kamu. Dia kejap lagi dia buka lah kamera. So there is that one strategy. But whether it works or not, Wallahualam. Susah nak guarantee. I cannot guarantee anything. But hopefully Amir, try your level best to communicate to those. Terima kasih Amir. Dan juga not just those yang buka kamera, yang aktif dekat chat pun okay. Some people, especially nowadays, the generation nowadays, they prefer to talk through this rather than talk through voice. You bagi dia call, dia tak pick up the call. Saya pun ada sikit lah macam tu. Dia tak pick up the call, lepas tu nanti dia text balik. Yes, how can I help? So the newer generation, dia malu sikit. Camera shy. Camera shy ke apa shy, I'm not sure. But I'm just making an assumption. Try as much as possible to focus to this. This one I think is something that we can look at. Okay? Kan? Dia suka chat Rosiana very, very true. I totally agree with that. Agaknya because they grow up on screen, so they are much more comfortable talking on screen. Keyboard warrior, netizen. Okay, now 4 principles of andragogy, just to wrap up, I think for this particular segment, 4 principles of andragogy. Please involve them as much as possible. Jangan hanya deliver, because at the end of the day, you got to remember guys, kita training, kita bukan coach, kita bukan penceramah, kita bukan public speaker. So because training is interactive, so you must interact with them. Jangan malu untuk interact, jangan segan. Kalau online, give it time. Kadang-kadang dia nak respond dekat chat lambat. So, give it time, but as much as possible, interact with them. Kadang-kadang dia kesian dekat kita, dia buka kamera, dia communicate dengan kita. Simpati pula. Alright, next, adult learners have experience. This one I think kita dah touch on it. Do not discount the adult learners. They know a lot actually. They know a lot. Sometimes they are there in the training session just to verify what they learn before, not what they learn from you. Dia datang situ, dia just nak endorse apa yang dia pernah tahu, apa yang dia pernah belajar je. Dia bukan nak belajar benda baru. So nanti you punya topik pula dia akan endorse the next time dia attend training orang lain. That is what happens with adult learners. Dia punya experience, they want to check whether what they learn, what they are doing is okay or not. They are just looking for acknowledgement and endorsement. Make sure what you share is of relevance and impact. Dekat sini saya selalu pesan, as a trainer, when you go into the client's place, as much as possible, try asking questions to find out sincerely find out apa yang company ni buat, apa yang issue dia face, what are their department is doing. Just tanya. Kalau dia boleh bagi tahu, dia bagi tahu. Most of the time they will let you know. Kadang-kadang you terus tanya, cerita-cerita pun keluar, dia terus keluar dia punya apa sad story ke apa kan. But use that for your training. Kita gunakan ini sebagai bullet. Kita take it as bullets examples, case study for your training. And of course, jangan lupa principles of adult learning. They are there to learn, but their learning is not really looking at the content. They are learning, trying to fix their problem. Contoh, kalau saya scroll balik chat ni, saya scroll balik sekejap chat ni, bila saya tanya tadi, what is it that you like to learn from this session? Tengok new ideas on producing outline. That's a problem that needs to be resolved. Betul tak? Dia bukan kisah content dia modul apa. Right? Teknik jawab soalan participant is a problem that people want to overcome. It's not a module. Tengok how to make meaningful presentation. It's all about excuse me, batuk-batuk tak hilang lagi ni. It's because of a problem, an issue that they face, wanting to make meaningful presentation, how to manage difficult ages dan sebagainya, which is what we talk about just now. Do not discount their experience. Kalau otai masuk dalam kelas kita, kita interact with them as a human, mutual respect very important. Kita kena respect dia dulu, kita respect participant, insyaAllah. Saya tak garanti, insyaAllah the participant will reciprocate and respect you back. Even if they don't want to show it deep down inside, dia akan rasa terdetik sikit lah. Yang ni muda tapi boleh tahan lah. That goes to people that have young looking faces. Macam Asif kan, nampak muda kan. The reason why Asif you get a lot of yang suka nak cocok-cocok, just nak test you, is because deep down inside they are actually impressed that as a young man, young age, you can do this, you can talk about this. So itulah dia sebenarnya. Dia jealous saja. Okay. Right. Moving along. So now ID model, just to touch base a little bit, I think when we design a training program, please analyze what is the outcome that you would like to achieve. In Malaysia, we have the tendency to fix our training based on time duration. That is normally how things are. Because maybe claimable punya issue ke apa, so people tend to fix the training to be half day, 1 day, 2 days or 3 days. So we know that is the amount of time that we have, so make sure we fix the targeted outcome clearly. So yang ni kita kena analyze, and also analyze your audience characteristics. So macam tadi kan, at least I'm happy that 70% of your participant is not so keen ataupun yang krik-krik ni. Because why? That shows that you are analysing your audience. That's good. Dia yang tak bagus ni apa? Trainer tu masuk melulu je. Bawa thumb drive, tanya mana nak cocok ni. Lepas tu present, dia baca slide, dia tengok langit. Pandang sini, tengok langit. Tak tengok pun participant. Participant hilang pun dia tak peduli. Yang tu kita tak mau. But if you analyse, you are concerned, you know the demographic of your audience macam mana, that is a good sign that you are on the right path. Now, once you analyze, of course, by right, we do this beforehand lah. But for freelance trainers, most of the time, you only get training requests. You get training requests and then you have to fix on your foot. Kan? Di tempat kejadian, pada hari kejadian baru you fix. So the idea here is, if you get a 2 days training, and by the way guys, if you are a freelance trainer, I highly recommend also for cost effectiveness purpose, for your own income, please jangan ambil 1 day training, because that does not give you opportunity to shine. If possible, negotiate for at least 2 days training. Why? Because first day, ice breaking, gitu gini, warming up the audience is maybe 2-3 hours. Half of the day is gone. Kan? The second half of the day or after break until habis is where you test the waters in terms of the content. The real main content yang you betul-betul nak push through is on second day. If you do this for a 1 day program, if you engage with a training provider give you 1 day, you won't get the ability to fix or to adjust your content for the audience. So itu dia punya tricks and traits behind the scene lah. But if you get opportunity to do one day, ambil, buat, because again, opportunity to practice is crucial. If let's say you get to do the 2 days, balik hari pertama tu, this is where you readjust your content accordingly. Okay, so make sure you know what is the performance criteria that you want to emphasize on and you want to push on. And then your strategy lah, change your strategy for the second day. Excuse me. Rosana, if they reduce the content to suit a one day session, okay, dekat sini lah yang kita kena ada sedikit apa nama, you have to have a bit of guts. Okay, if they were to reduce because of cost and whatnot, they want to squeeze into one day, you must be firm in terms of showing them, okay, fine, but my targeted outcome cannot achieve this. We can only do this. So you have to renegotiate based on two things, the outcome and the performance criteria. So either you reduce the performance criteria, which means you reduce the content, or you realign the targeted outcome. Nanti sekejap lagi saya akan tunjukkan what do I mean by realign the targeted outcome. Okay, boleh Rosana? Right. So session plan. Ni kena buat session plan ni. Benda yang paling favorite saya dalam TTT is session plan. You have to adjust your session plan. Okay, learning materials. Thinking forward, learning materials, make sure you fix the material. Fix the material means tolong jangan bagi learning materials in the form of slides. Because if you change your slides, your learning materials dah berubah. So the idea here is learning materials, notes, solid, buku pun tak apa. I always say in my TTT, you publish your learning materials, fix the learning materials, slides, you adjust. So if you get that 2 days just now, first day you play around with it and then you kata, okay, never mind, this one we discuss a little bit further tomorrow. Balik rumah ataupun balik hotel malam tu, readjust your slides. Your notes maintains the same. Okay, Aisyah tanya, what is your opinion on soft copy learning materials? If the soft copy is an ebook or your learning material, tak ada masalah Aisyah. It's okay. No problem. The only personal preference is I like paper because tangible item ni bila orang dapat, orang rasa macam what they paid for is a bit worth it. If they get soft copy, dia rasa macam the soft copy is they feel it's cheap. That's the only issue that I have with learning material. But to be fair, that nowadays I'm sure Aisyah will be very aware of this, because of carbon footprint. A lot of big GLCs, big company MNCs, they are working towards ESG. They nak reduce carbon footprint, so they're not training their paperless. So because of that, if they want soft copy learning materials, by all means. But tolong jangan PDF kan your slides. That is not learning material. Slides is slides, notes is notes. Okay, personally that's how I feel. Okay, moving along. Evaluation parameters. Again, remember, targeted outcomes, performance criteria, evaluation parameters. You must know how to measure the delivery, the learning level. So yang ni yang penting. This is the only way you can justify your training. Okay. So next is when you implement interactive learning event. So like I said, emphasis on interactive. Saya laju sikit sebab this part it requires a little bit more. I underestimate the session because National Training Week kan, kita get excited. I said 2 hours macam okay lah. Then I realised tak boleh lah, content ni banyak ni. So mungkin kena explore a bit more for future lah. But because we are celebrating National Training Week, never mind, we do this and we experiment first. Okay, it's being apa orang kata excuse, just giving excuse. Okay, evaluate, formative evaluation and summative evaluation. Apa beza dia? Formative evaluation is evaluating the content. Summative evaluation is evaluating the feeling, the learning experience, the mood. So tu dua. Most of the time when we do feedback form, it's summative. Did you enjoy the training session? Was the training session okay? Summative. Formative, we talk about the lesson learned. Okay, what did you learn from module 1? What did you learn from module 2? Formative, summative. Both is crucial. Ni kita explore. Okay? Now, moving along. Saya nak tunjuk kat sini. TNA ada dekat sini. This one, substantial discussion on EET. Bukan nak iklan, bukan nak suruh sign up, but if you are interested in these two areas of training, you should look out for training needs analysis, TNA. HRD Corp ada TNA program. Evaluation on effectiveness of training, EET, HRD Corp pun ada. Kita pun ada offer this program, but this one, how do I say, if you have full control, okay. If you are a freelance trainer with a training provider, attending these two may not be something of relevance because you do not have the authority to fix, to put it in. TNA is usually meant for HR because they need to be doing it at the workplace. EET is meant for training providers to prove your training is effective. Okay, untuk trainer, focus on understanding the general picture, cukup, is sufficient. Okay, that's my recommendation. Okay, moving along. This is what I mean by learning outcome, content, training materials they kena match. Give you one example. We use something that's very basic. Kita pakai Bloom's taxonomy. Level 1 remember, level 2 understand, level 3 apply, level 4 analyze, level 5 evaluate, level 6 the highest level is create. Now, remember I mentioned the targeted outcome. Rosiana, this is where I mentioned, let's say from a 2 days program, they compress to a 1 day. So you change the level of targeted outcome. For example, with a 2 days program, they can apply. That is level 3, they can apply. But when they renegotiate for a 1 day program, maybe you tell them, I cannot do until application because of time constraint. I aim until understand. If you are okay with that, sir, let's proceed with 1 day. So you tak tukar the size of the content, but you tukar the intensity, the depth of the outcome. You get what I mean? Okay, so that is one strategy when people negotiate on squeezing the training itself. Number 1 is, you tengok, remember is the lowest level. People go back, they remember. Level number 2, they go back, they understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, what is the difference? Okay, by the way, I mentioned this is Bloom's taxonomy, kan? Now, in Bloom's taxonomy, if you want people to remember, your strategy is going to be repeat, emphasize, repeat, emphasize, repeat, emphasize, because your goal is to get them to remember. The easiest form of learning is signal learning. Ini cerita konsep lain lah. Signal learning is the lowest form of learning. What is signal learning? Pernah dengar tak eksperimen where they train animals to respond to the bell sound. Bila bell sound ting ting ting, dia tahu, oh, food datang. So that is signal learning. Humans pun ada signal learning. Contohnya when you learn about the road signs, kan, this one means what, this one means what. So that is signal learning. You nampak lampu merah, you stop. You nampak lampu hijau, you jalan. You nampak lampu kuning, you tekan minyak, kan? No, wrong. You see the yellow light, you slow down. Okay, so that is signal learning. Signal learning is a strategy where you get them to remember the signal. You don't get them to remember the action. You get them to remember this signal means you have to do this. You see this, you do this. You see this, you do that. That is the lowest level. So if your aim is to get people to remember, sure. Thank you, Rosiana. Catch up with you later soon, insyaAllah. If your aim is to get people to remember, your strategy is repeat, emphasize, repeat, emphasize. If your strategy is to get people to understand, you have to give a lot of examples and elaborate. Because of this, time becomes a factor. Excuse me. Okay, to apply, you have to give them opportunity to exercise and practice. Kena buat practical lah, right? If you want them to be able to analyze higher goals, this is where you need to introduce a lot of variation. A lot of variation here means maybe case study, maybe actual scenario, real life scenario. You get them to discuss and come up with solutions. If you want them to evaluate, you have to give them the criteria so that they define the criteria. And then last level is strategy, explore possibility. Kalau you nak orang create, you kena bagi dia masa untuk explore. The higher you go up in terms of learning outcome, the more time you require. Normal training program, 2 days, 3 days, you could possibly go up until, I would say, evaluate. Depends on what topic. Certain topics you can go until create. But most of the time, training programs, to be safe, 1 day, 2 days program, you aim until understand, apply, analyze is good enough. Okay, kat situ. So now, training materials kena match with this. So if you want people to remember, you have to get them to give the right materials to help them do this. So the idea here is be mindful of what kind of strategy you use based on the goals that you are targeting, and your learning materials must match. Okay, so don't just depend on the slides. Try as much as possible to have comprehensive notes, slides lain, notes lain, activities lain. Any questions? Okay, Haris. Haris bertanya, boleh share strategi lifetime value. Lifetime value? Boleh elaborate sikit, Haris? I'm not sure what you mean by lifetime value untuk training. Boleh share strategi lifetime value untuk training?
Assalamualaikum, Coach. Dengar tak?
Salam, boleh? Ya.
Okay, lifetime value ni maksud dia macam kita buat training kan? Kata contoh saya buat training technical untuk katalah untuk CNDB course kerja bumbung.
Understand?
Okay, so macam mana kita nak buat macam untuk tarik participant untuk macam first stage, second stage. Maksud dia kalau kita ajar terus mungkin sehari 2 hari, so dia dah habis kat situ kan? Jadi sebab saya tengok ada contoh yang dia buat first, dia buat preview, mungkin webinar sejam 2 jam. Dia masuk yang physical class, dan dia masuk yang mungkin advance lagi. So macam mana strategi untuk mungkin lifetime value lah. Dan saya nampak dia macam lifetime value, maksud dia participant ni dia terus mungkin macam mana cakap dia subscribe dengan kita ataupun dia jadi peserta kita macam tu lah untuk kita.
Okay, saya cuba. Alright, there are many ways to go about this. Ada banyak cara. Salah satu cara yang paling common kita nampak adalah companies yang offer this type of training, dia bagi satu roadmap. Ini yang paling common. Yang paling common dia bagi roadmap. So sama ada the participant attend from level 1 yang preview ke, yang intermediate ke, dekat mana-mana pun, dia akan incorporate that framework, that roadmap tu dalam course material dia. So participant akan nampak bigger picture. Dia datang walaupun macam you guys datang ni free preview ke apa kan. So you akan nampak bigger picture. Oh, sebenarnya ada lagi. Ingat tak tadi gambar ID model yang saya tunjuk? Biasanya kadang-kadang dia orang buat macam tu, tapi different shape lah. Maybe you buat one flow, maybe ada yang naik, ada yang stagnant ke. So you kena tunjukkan dia punya progression. Yang ini dalam program EET tu, Evaluation of Effectiveness of Training, dan juga dalam program TNA kita ada sebut tentang training roadmap. So training roadmap ni you have to come up with that framework lah. Kalau industri macam CIDB, saya rasa dia ada industrial framework, betul tak? Kalau ada industrial framework, mungkin boleh cuba dapatkan kopi dan gunakan tu dalam training untuk tunjuk bahawa dia ada progress. Dia ada progression yang dia boleh pergi. Excuse me. So dia bukan kita bukan semata-mata ajar konten, kita juga bagi buka mata dia untuk dia nampak ke mana dia boleh pergi lepas ni. Bukan upsell upsell lain. Upsell tu yang hujung-hujung tu dia kata okey, siapa nak ni cepat sign up sekarang, itu upsell. Kita bukan upsell, kita tunjuk dia possibility ke mana dia boleh pergi, sejauh mana. So that I think is one of the strategy. Hopefully dapat menjawab sedikit soalan Haris. Okey Haris? Boleh ke?
Ya, kos. Terima kasih. Memang sangat ni lah.
Kalau ada contoh, saya tak ada contoh nak tunjuk offhand. Tapi tengoklah, ada rezeki nanti saya akan share pada masa akan datang. Macam mana kita nak work on that apa nama roadmap. So dekat sini Haris gunakan lifetime value. Betul juga saya tak perasan terms tu. Terima kasih. Thank you for asking question. So ada apa-apa lagi soalan? Kita agak terkejar-kejar sama-sama. Terima kasih Haris bertanya soalan. Kita agak terkejar-kejar. Macam saya kata, minta maaf, I underestimated the time. So kita nak go into the next part, which is winner training outline. So bila kita cakap winner training outline ni, like I said, we are focusing in the space of HRD Corp. So saya nak cerita key elements, sama ada kita freelance trainer or we are training provider. These are the items you need to have in your training outline so you have no problems with the claims process. Kita nak cerita supaya kita punya outline fit the right boxes. Okay, so now let's go into a little bit detail. Specifically nanti boleh scan untuk dapatkan dia punya, nak screenshot pun boleh, nanti scan untuk dapatkan dia punya guideline sikit. Number one, first and foremost, you can training outline. Ingat satu je, if it's less than 4 hours, excluding lunch, cannot be claimable. So if you're going to create your training program, you're going to craft your training program, make sure minimum half day is 4 hours. You can do 4 hours, total berapa hari? Boleh, no issue. So this is the part where you have to talk to your client, you have to convince how to help them rearrange. Like the story just now I mentioned, hotels, they cannot release their staff in one go. So what we do is we help them to understand they can pagi 4 jam group A, petang 4 jam group B. So group A boleh masuk kerja, group B kalau shift malam tadi dia boleh datang. So you help them arrange and organize the session. As long as you get 4 hours solid, boleh claim. Okay, now number 2, trainer must possess relevant competency in that program. Saya sendiri pernah register program, nama saya sendiri kena reject padahal program tu saya buat. Because I failed to show that I have the relevant competency, experience or skill in that particular topic. So contoh, if Asif is doing sales, Asif has to highlight in his profile his experience in sales. Kalau Zam buat training forklift, Zam kena tunjuk dekat mana Zam biasa ada buat forklift, ataupun Zam kena tunjuk yang Zam ada license instructor tu lah. Okay, so that is what we mean. Banyak case register program sangkut because the trainer failed to show relevant competency. Okay, next one. Seminar and conference boleh, tapi seminar and conference, number one, must be held locally. Tak boleh buat seminar dekat Bali, tak boleh buat seminar dekat Phuket, Langkawi boleh, tak boleh buat luar Malaysia, number one. Number two, kelulusan dia, validity dia one off. So you do seminar this year, next year seminar you have to reapply. And then your seminar cannot max more than 3 days. Seminar 2 hari atau 3 hari max. Okay, ini untuk seminar and conference. Okay, because a lot of training provider, they also do seminar and conference. They combine beberapa topik, beberapa trainer sekali dan buat. Kita access ideas, kita tak pernah buat lagi seminar and conference, tapi macam ada terfikir jugalah nak try. Because kita ada ramai trainer-trainer berkaliber kan. Kita ada banyak trainer-trainer yang boleh. So we may or may not. Nantilah, ada masa, ada rezeki nanti. Alright, long-term courses also can, but long-term courses is also, is usually more than 3 months, but highly advisable jangan register lump sum, register by module better, because payment will be released as you do the training itself. If you register as a whole program 3 months, after 3 months baru dapat payment. Okay, so be mindful of that. So when you create your outline, sometimes guys, it's good to consider all of this before you make the choice. Okay, if you are doing coaching and mentoring, let's say for example, Asif, you do first round 2 days training, and then you want to have follow-up coaching and mentoring session, the ratio is 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, minimum must be 4 hours. Kalau nak buat personal coaching afterwards, okay, tapi dia akan jadi a little bit out of the box. So if you can, you arrange as a group session, then you can fall back under training. Better. Okay, just for your information. Alright, a little bit more. I proceed a little bit more on training program, because once you know this training program, then you can consider how you want to do up your outline. This one is mainly for the trainers to understand. Number one, you as a trainer must tell the training provider which category your training skill is. Soft skills atau hard skills. Salah satu, tak boleh hybrid. So, if your topic, contoh macam forklift driving, that's hard skill. Scaffolding, that's hard skill. Tapi kalau you ada mix kan, macam a little bit of production. Production tu boleh jatuh bawah soft skill ke hard skill. I would recommend go with soft skill. Because why? Kalau tak nanti nak register, the training provider pening kepala, tak tahu nak pilih your topic dekat mana, takut salah kategori. Number two, there is a drop down list of skill area. Talk to your training provider, because this one is inside the HRD Corp punya system. Saya tak boleh nak tunjuk. Ask your training provider to advise you on which skill area is available, and you match your skill area. Kalau tak, nanti susah juga. These are usually the hiccups lah. Ingat satu, course title cannot be changed. Once you pass your outline, you give your outline, you cannot change the course title. Contoh, basic sales. Basic sales for retail, different course title, re-register. Course title tak boleh tukar. So if you get your training provider to request you, contoh the training provider says, Asif, can you do your program under this particular title? Actually tak salah, because to them it makes life easier, because they don't have to re-register. Once you re-register, take up time. So because of that, sometimes they will register a general topic, and if you agree, they will park your program under that general topic. Excuse me. Okay. Now, the type of training, whether it's going to be face-to-face or online, this is considered non-e-learning. E-learning is self-paced, yang pakai sistem, yang ada platform. That one is called e-learning. And kena ingat lah, your training mode full-time atau part-time. Usually, kalau course short courses, 2 days training, usually kita panggil full-time lah. Full-time training means they fully attend the session, bukan separuh-separuh. Okay. Excuse me. So now, duration and total training hours. Be mindful, 2 full days is 14 hours. Tetapi, sorry. Tak boleh. 2 full days is 14 hours. So kalau tak cukup 14 hours, tak dapat count as 2 full days. I see some training provider dia salah register, tak dapat. Usually kita advise 1 day, full day is 8 hours lah. 8 hours will be better. Right? Okay, just last few ones before we call it a day today. Untuk trainer profile, make sure you put these items. These items is basic and compulsory. Okay, make sure you note your academic qualification, especially if you have academic qualification related to the topic that you are training. If you don't have the related academic qualification, you can incorporate professional qualification or professional certificates, professional training that you have attended. If not, make sure you highlight clearly how many years you have experience in the same field or same topic. So contoh, kalau macam Zam bercerita tentang logistics, so bila cerita tentang logistics, background army kan, background tentera taklah direct kepada logistik, kecuali Zam pernah ada dalam jabatan atau department yang buat logistics lah. Otherwise, you kena highlight your years of experience tu ataupun mana-mana professional training when you pernah pergi pasal logistic related topic. Okay, so tu je cara dia. Kadang-kadang kita silap, kita tak highlight the key points which causes us to not able to register, atau training provider tak dapat register, dan bila training tak dapat register, client susah nak run the program, hence why your outline tak lepas. Okay, alright. So dekat sini, any other questions you like to ask? Because kita pun just for the sake of National Training Week, kita cuba untuk conduct this program. Kita masih lagi dalam phase untuk fine tune the content. Let us know kalau you ada apa-apa any other areas that you like to explore. So when we roll out this training in the future, berbaloi untuk those who come for the session untuk dapat maklumat-maklumat yang diperlukan. Macam tadi ada yang bercakap pasal outline, macam mana nak handle participant dan sebagainya. Hopefully I manage to squeeze in a little bit some tips. Kalau ada apa-apa boleh bagi tahu, share, you can put in the chat box, ataupun you have the email kan, Zati punya email that send you the link, you can give your feedback dekat situ. We will put you in a contact list later. Mana tahu kalau kita buat this training lebih panjang sikit ke macam mana ke, we'll let you know so that in the future you can participate again. Okay, for National Training Week, I hope you guys utilize this week, attend lah mana-mana training yang you dapat, and sincerely, maybe some of the training courses, because it's free, they're on test, macam kita tengah test program. So, but never mind, learning is learning, you know, ilmu is ilmu. You give it a shot. Some programs betul-betul memang beneficial, so utilize this week properly and enjoy kita punya celebration National Training Week for kita lah, right? Hopefully kita gain something, and in the future, if this becomes something yang annual event, maybe it is something that is also good to create awareness on training, because ramai clients kita tahu kat luar, dia awareness on training ni kurang. So lagi kita buat, lagilah ada. The more kita sama-sama work together, insyaAllah it will happen. Okay, thank you very much Suraya for your comment. TTT Refresher, thank you very much. InsyaAllah ada rezeki kita akan buat lagi. We will let you guys know if we have this session, because I think there are certain parts we wanted to share pun tak sempat, because kita promise maximum 2 jam. We'll see how it goes. Terima kasih Asif for tuning in, komitmen untuk ni. Okay, salam. Oh yeah, by the way, kita nak ambil group foto sebenarnya. Thank you Aisyah, thank you Zam. Ya, ini betul, ni bukan saja nak suruh buka kamera. We're going to take a group photo. So kita buat yang immerse tu. Thank you Amir. Thank you, baru nampak muka Amir. Thank you Amir, thank you Aisyah. Terima kasih Cik Aris. Alhamdulillah dia dapat daripada YouTube. Thank you very much. Okay. Jom buka kamera. Okay, there's Elina. Thank you for being here. Cik Aris, terima kasih. We have Sangeeta. Saya tak tahu siapa Del22, but you know, thank you very much for being. Sekejap kita nak buat satu yang immerse punya. Immerse view. Sekejap Alright. Kita minta admin minta tolong buat immerse view, kita ambil yang tu lah, yang macam dalam kelas tu. That one, the other one yang warna biru tu. Okay, sekejap Hold on, we're going to take a group photo. Itu dia barulah nampak macam dalam kelas. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, thank you very much, guys. One more. Number 2. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, thank you very much. Nanti kita akan send through email the pictures. Again, thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much for your commitment. InsyaAllah ada rezeki, kita jumpa lagi. Hook up with us on our social media. And hopefully from there, we will share. InsyaAllah saya akan share selalu dalam Facebook, dalam YouTube about trainers development and so on and so forth. Again, thank you very much for your time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Stay safe.
Terima kasih, Coach.
Ya, sama. Sebenarnya saya bukan coach, tapi tak apalah. Saya terima. Saya
Thank you,
trainer.
Sensei.
Baik. Terima kasih, Zam.
Ulang gaji.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Alright.
Thank you, sir. Ada rezeki, insyaAllah kita jumpa.
InsyaAllah.
Mudah-mudahan. Saya pun tengah cari tari yang sesuai. Terima kasih banyak, sir.
Sama-sama.